this is the Berlin Historical Commission on October 14th. This is our regular monthly meeting, and I am calling it to order. We have present now Janet Woodward and Eleanor Bergen and myself, June Miller, and Barry Ager will be with us shortly.
And what time is it, June?
It is now, let's see,
I have 10:10, not quite 10:10, 10:08.
I see, June, you have an extra writing implement. Could I borrow it?
yes, yes,
Thank
you may.
It was chaotic when I left my house.
It's hard, you're
It
responsible.
wasn't chaotic, but I was.
You're responsible for everybody, and, I mean, Tim
Yeah.
is too, but still.
It ends up being you.
Well, he's staying there now. He's there, yeah, he's there now, so. He's very good.
How long before they leave?
I think they're gonna stay till tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, it's 10:08.
10:08, thank you.
10:08. We're starting calling to order at 10:08. The first thing we have on our agenda is all of our many minutes, most
Yes.
of which are for site visits where we did some work at the Bullard House. But we'll start with September 8th. That was,
And I mailed them to everybody so that people should have
Yeah.
a chance to have read them.
yeah.
Found
That was-
mistakes.
That was a meeting with Dan Barton, a Zoom meeting. You might want to put, you've designated him, Janet, as a guest consultant, but you might also want to add architect.
Yes, I just put my pen somewhere. I will. I
Okay.
don't know that we've done that before, but that's a good idea. I like it, so.
Well, just add it on next time, maybe, or whatever you'd like to.
Yes.
To do
No,
about
I
that.
can redo that one and add that on.
And I think that's fine. The meeting was actually posted for 2 o'clock, and we did start that meeting at 2, or pretty close to it. I
What
think
have I said here?
1 to 4.
Oh, yeah, because that we were gonna do, we mentioned.
Well, he had said, I'm probably available from 1 to 4, but I told him I would post the meeting for 2, and actually, we did, he was a bit
Yeah,
late.
now, June, which meeting are you talking about? Which date?
September 8th?
Yeah. Okay, that was the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So that one wasn't the one that we posted 1 to 4, I don't think.
no,
Okay, so that'll come up
you can,
next. No, in a couple more of these, that
Yeah.
one will come up.
Yeah, I didn't
so,
attend that one.
do you want to just go through the whole group of minutes and approve it with one vote? Or do you want to do it individually?
Was there anything that you found in any of the other ones that needed to be changed? That would determine
Yeah.
that, really.
The only thing that might be misconstrued is that it is for September 9th, which is the next one coming up. We didn't, we were, when we act on permits for demolition, we usually visit the site and we talk about it, and we declare whether it's historically significant. And if it is, then sometimes there'll be a hearing depending on town interest, and we might impose a delay if that's the wish of the of the commission and interested residents. But we didn't delay anything.
Right.
So your sentence that says,
I'm not with you yet. This is on the 9th.
yep, this is the 9th.
Okay, 248 Pleasant.
Yep.
Yeah, I bet.
No, it's not 248 Pleasant, it's here in room 227.
Right, But all I'm saying is that paragraph that I think you're
Yep,
looking at.
on the second page.
There will be a historical commission site visit at 248 Pleasant Street. Is that where you see a change being made? 9:30 a.m., September 12th. This is just announcing that that's a coming up thing. Of the opportunity to view and photograph the historical elements.
That's the paragraph.
Yes.
All I'm saying is that we never delayed it. You can't say need no longer be delayed because we never delayed anything.
Oh, okay, I wrote it the way, I think the way that it was suggested. I use the exact words on this delay stuff because I'm not as familiar with how it's all supposed to be worded. So maybe that was, I don't know if maybe that was the way Barry worded it, but
don't think
what
so.
should it say?
The sentence should be constructed differently. It should say, permits for partition wall demolition at 248 Pleasant and demolition at 92 Highland Street
Hang on one sec, let me get this.
have been filed.
All right, permits for partition wall at. what is it?
Demolition, I think she said. Petition wall demolition.
Wall demolition, all right,
At 248 Pleasant,
yep.
and demolition of, it's actually a demolition of a garage, or you could say outbuilding,
Okay,
at 92 Highland.
yep,
Will have been filed.
okay,
That's all. A delay is a different part of the process, and we
Okay.
never went that far because the buildings, I think it's explained in the minutes for the actual site visits the site visit for 248 Pleasant, when we took the actual votes. When we took the actual votes, that I think you explained that 248 Pleasant was not under our jurisdiction because it was an interior demolition request. And
so,
92 Highland was declared not historically significant.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have
Yeah.
ruled on, we wouldn't have gone forward with any delay. But we'll get to that, I think, because we're only on September 9th. So that's the only thing I would change, because I think that would be confusing.
yeah, no, that's
people,
good.
yeah.
I have to have a little demolition delay lesson because I'm not familiar
Well, it's
enough with exactly how that all
Yeah,
proceeds.
it's a process.
Yeah.
And we have that in a handout, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure you get that.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All
then
right.
on September 12th, when we went to 248 Pleasant Street,
Mhm.
the minutes are fine.
All right. And then we had September 12th when we next went to the Bullard House
Yeah.
on the same day.
And then right after, we went to the Bullard House and we worked.
Mm-hmm.
And those minutes are fine.
Okay.
Yeah. And then September 28th, I think are fine also.
All right. September 28th ended up being a little bit of a description of what we talked about, because we did not do any decisions. That was when we were over at the, but I just felt some of the things we discussed were important enough to
I
have
think
on
you did a
record.
good job,
All right, good.
trying to summarize all the things we talked about.
Well, and you know, the interesting thing about this collection, which sometimes means that we weren't prepared to vote on it 1 month or something, these were just all things that happened
Yeah.
in that course of that month. It was an incredibly busy meeting month for us.
So, we did come up with a couple of changes for September 8th and 9th,
Fine.
okay?
Simple ones, adding the word architect here. And then just straightening out a little bit the proper language for the demolition thing.
Okay, so we need to have a motion to approve
If you
with
can
the
read my writing.
changes.
He's trying to read my
Oh,
writing.
all right.
I was scribbling. Can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get the language about delay out of there because it never went that far.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We were just acting on permits.
Oh, no, we'd already released that whole business.
Yeah.
So does that look all right to you with that
Yeah.
change? All right, good.
So can we have a motion to approve those five sets of minutes?
Yes.
8, 9, 12, 12, and 28.
I don't think I should move that since I wrote them.
I'll move to.
Okay, is there a second?
Can I second it?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, all those in favor of approving with changes the minutes for September 8th, 9th, 2 meetings on the 12th, and September 28th. Is it unanimous? Are we all set?
Yep.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And Barry, I think is okay. Are you?
2 on the 12th? Oh, yes, okay. Fine.
Okay,
Great.
it's unanimous. All right, thank you. All right, that's done. And there is one meeting that Barry and I attended at the Bullard House, and we worked a bit. And I will just write up something for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, we just did a little bit of work without the rest of you.
That was just more collection work.
That's right,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, hey, if you want to just use that form that that one that I use all the time when all we're done is, have been doing is collection work, you can do that.
Yeah, I'll make it simple.
Yeah.
The next thing is a invoice from Mogul Architects, which represents work in October. So I'm going to have you guys have a look at it. It's for $943.96. And that would be for the meeting on September 8th, and it would be for the site visit on September 28th, and whatever else he did to prepare for those.
You seen that?
So if it's acceptable, we need to vote to pay the bill, and I'll submit it to the accountant. And
I
this,
move to approve it.
Second?
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. We're, just to reiterate that we're using CPA money designated for architectural services to pay this bill.
Okay.
So that would bring our total to about $1,800.
How much
Out.
do we have to spend?
Well, we have
It's $100,000.
$30,000 designated from the special town meeting in November. It was amended to designate $30,000 for architectural services. And then at the annual town meeting in May, we had another award of $100,000. And out of that, we can spend money for architectural services. And that's not a designated amount, so. Just to tell you, Ellie, that if we do get a grant from the MHC, none of our architectural expenses can be reimbursed through that.
That has to be actual
Yeah,
work.
we have to pay
Structural
for
work.
that from other sources. Okay.
But the money we spend on that can be part of the match, can't it?
Say that again, Barry, I was still writing.
The architectural services money we spend can be part of a match, can't it? Or can't it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We have to reserve whatever, say we ask for 50 grand, then we have to reserve that. And none
For
of our,
structural improvements?
for whatever, yeah, it would
structural
be, yeah, we're
improvements.
worried about the foundation and
Yeah.
for now.
But Barry does raise an interesting question.
Maybe I don't understand it.
No, I think you do. I just
Yeah.
think that's maybe that goes on my list of things to ask our new friend.
Paul Holst.
Paul Holst.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
well, so let's see how we want to word that.
At one time, I had a better
Can
picture of that than I do
expensive.
right
The
now.
match, can money set aside,
Now, money spent for architectural services,
match?
can that be used as part of the match?
Well, and if it's
But-
being set aside, it's not spent yet, but it's,
But we're not, I mean, we can't even ask for things to be paid that aren't within that 8-month window.
right. That's the other thing. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
In other words, the match money also has to be spent in the same 8 months that the grant money is.
Yeah, so I really don't think we can get any mileage out of this money that was,
Okay.
it's just money that we have to spend to
Yeah.
get ourselves.
I'm going to get a clarification. He's very clear when he explains things, so I'm going to ask him, does match money, so can the money set aside for the match be used? Well, the thing is, it's got to sit in there, so in a way, it would be, you wouldn't be able to
I think
spend
it's
it
the-
anyway, so I
yeah,
think it may be a moot point.
The reimbursable 8-month period is probably what will
Yeah,
make that
yeah.
not possible.
Yeah. I think that's true. Ellie, do you catch on to the 8-month thing we're talking about? Yeah, it's the only, we can't start spending it until, I gotta look that up. It's either October or,
We can, we can spend our money, it's just that we have to reserve
Yeah.
whatever the same amount that we ask for.
yeah. Right,
And one of the 100,000 that we got from CPA is earmarked, or at least partially, for to match as matching funds for.
Yeah,
That's one of
so-
the things that was included in the purposes in the vote.
Yeah, so we're tied to that. Well, we only have to apply. Doesn't mean we will be successful, but we'll
That's
do
right.
our best, yeah.
yeah. And that it is 8 months. It's October 31st through is the deadline for getting all that stuff in, and then they can, and having selected our,
From the time that they
Contract.
authorize
yeah,
to spend to the time that it has to be finished.
right, yeah. Which always seems a little strange after you put so much time into preparing the grant, and then you have that little teeny bit of time to have the men and women who are going to build this thing get in there and do it.
Well, hopefully it'll mirror the way forward anyway. I mean, to
Yeah.
some extent, whatever is prioritized for tasks that have to be accomplished, for the rehabilitation or whatever, preservation, rehabilitation, whatever it turns out to be, will be the things that are in the grant too,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's all becoming clearer as we move along, and it's very clear that they are willing to help us. Even the preservation restriction, it appears that they will help us.
What said they write it?
Yeah,
With writing,
I know,
yeah.
that was an
Said they'd write it.
eye-opener.
Yeah. So I think they're going to make it easier for us then. we realized initially. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but it just means they'll help us.
Cross our
apply.
fingers.
I think it was a very encouraging reply.
Me too.
Why is this so little? Is that the best it can do? This is still too small. Do you have your big printout with you?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, that stuff isn't on there, is it? Yeah.
Well, the next thing on the agenda is to review the master plan to see how we're doing with our tasks. Yeah, Janet has a nice
that's
big
much
copy.
better.
I
Yeah.
couldn't see it, so I said I'm gonna,
Sorry.
Can you read it upside down?
I know, Barry's good at that, I'm hard.
it's been
I
in a lot
don't
of
read
these
well
meetings.
sideways, but I read upside down is fine.
Okay. Just quickly, administrative tasks. We are still in the process of developing the grant application schedule. Is that
In
right?
October, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I guess we're a little behind on that, but I don't know that perhaps that September is a good fit for, for having it completed. I think we need more time.
Which one are we looking at?
We're just starting out with administrative tasks.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Yep, and the first item is, you want to sign, Lily?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, any place there. The first task is to develop the grant application schedule. And the workflow chart only gives us part of September. Maybe I'm reading too much into the word schedule, but I don't think that's enough time. I think we need to,
June, don't we have the basic outline schedule already? They give it to us, the grant application?
I thought so.
So I'm wondering if it's more.
is that all it means? Maybe
I
I'm,
think so, and
Okay.
I think because he doesn't work with the grant, he's not thinking of it the way we are, like, yeah, right, we already know that, you know.
where we fit into it.
Right,
yeah.
we've already been talking about
Okay.
that.
So,
I think we would break it down, who wants to work on, writing it, that sort of thing. Maybe we could break it
Well,
down into smaller parts.
It's a
and-
schedule, it's not the application.
Right, but I'm thinking, when you sit down to do the schedule, there may be steps that you use, and you could, that's the only way I can think of that you'd break it down, other than just to say, we've got the schedule. I mean, although this is the one, that's right, the first year schedule is the one we kind of make up. They don't provide that. They only provide the schedule after the,
yeah.
I am forgetting about that.
So what do you,
I have something here that's a schedule that says, January, complete preservation restriction on Bullard House. That is just a goal we set for ourselves. That's not required to be done then.
Okay.
February, draft a statement of work written for architectural services and identify the list. Most of this is about getting an
okay,
architect.
so we do, so you have done that
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah.
And are we satisfied with that as a group?
Of course, they haven't seen
Is it
what I've written,
realistic?
but you guys can glance
For
at
the
it.
present, yes.
Okay,
That doesn't mean it won't
Change.
get changed.
need to modulate over time, yeah.
And one decision we'll have to make is, do we want to assign tasks to people such as, you and you, or you will work on a first draft of a statement of work, or is this something we're planning to do by committee all the way through?
Well, some of that this,
Some of it's easier for someone to write up a draft and then.
yeah, and
Yes,
submit
work
it.
from
I think so, and then let everybody attack it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, writing from the beginning with a committee is painful.
You know,
It is
we
painful.
did what I thought was a masterful job of coming up with the, what's it?
The mission and the vision.
Mission, thank you, my mind is gone this week. Mission and division,
Vision,
mission and vision
Vision.
statement.
yeah.
I thought we did a really good job doing a lot of that by committee. But we all had come with ideas, you know, it wasn't
Yeah.
like we hadn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had stuff drafted that we
Yeah.
worked from.
Right, and we would go off.
And we
into-
refined it,
Yeah.
yeah, as best
Yeah.
we could.
But I've not worked on a committee
Okay.
that was able to
Okay, the second
work
thing.
as well, I think, with that.
Develop grant application requirements. And that's also in your preliminary work that you
Mhm.
put together for us.
Grant requirements, yeah. I think that is done, yeah. I think we could say.
Well, that isn't, aren't those part of what's in the application materials?
Yeah, they've got that in there, and I mean, we can pull it out and just
And
put it in
we-
the Dropbox.
And we can work with that.
Mhm.
Okay. So these are just formalities that we're trying to be aware of. I mean, we don't know what kind of, we don't know the way forward in detail. So we just are doing the best we can with the requirements that they've set out for us.
You know, the other thing we have to fall back on is that Carl, when he was on the commission, he wrote up a statement of work already. Now,
Yeah.
we may like it, we may not like it, but again, it's something
It's the
else you can
start.
Well,
start with.
the structure of it is still valuable, but the
Yeah.
details are not,
Yeah.
I don't think. Anyway. So the next thing is build a database of contacts.
Which we have been doing and continue to
Yeah,
do.
okay, so we're good with that. Work with the town, on design and construction delivery. That's way out
Yeah,
till
next
next
month.
month. The ne-
But I don't know what,
That may have to go out further.
that's gonna have to go out further and depending on what we get out of our master planning process now, but, yeah.
I'm going to look over your shoulder.
Why don't you move your chair
No,
around?
it's a good idea.
So I'm going to say construction delivery needs to be moved forward. He wanted us to tweak this
Where-
if
So
we were
talking
concerned about
Okay.
the
certain
work of
things.
town.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm
that,
just saying, how far out does that have to go
well,
after we get some of the
we need our engine.
results back
Yeah.
from, say, Ross and
Yeah,
those people?
yeah, and the engineer that will come and make some determination as to what,
To me, this is something that's ongoing. If you don't have architectural plans, how are you gonna develop all of this?
Well, you know, I think, I was thinking to myself as I was looking this over a couple days ago, that we are almost to the point where we need to begin thinking about this, and that's why I was putting in the Dropbox some of the requirements for the various different stages of work.
Yeah.
Because I think we could, is there a very, very open-ended, loose way that we can begin to start talking about this? It's going to take a while to pin it down. But so, and that ties in very closely with the requirements of all of these different things. The conservation, the preservation restriction even, ties in with how we would do our design and the requirements. And maybe, I haven't put them in the Dropbox yet, but if I get those in the Dropbox, maybe just our reading through them again is a good first step, and it kind of fits into this because it's
Yeah.
preparation for
I
that.
think we need to discuss that with him the next time we meet with him,
Yeah,
With Dan?
as to what exactly he means by that.
construction delivery, you mean?
design and construction delivery
Okay.
that we've got to work with the town on. I mean,
Okay, what does that mean? Exactly.
yeah, what's really included in that?
Okay.
And which town person would it be best for us to sit and start talking?
The admin.
Yeah, which?
Kristen.
Oh, you gotta deal with the
Kristen, yeah,
administrator.
that's what I was thinking. So maybe that's all we're saying, is that, I haven't even met Kristen, familiarize ourselves with her and tell her what we're thinking of, because it's so in our minds, the difference between preservation and, all of these different things that we are, different levels at which we could do the work.
Well, we have to model for her, because we're the ones that really need to with our consultants, the engineer, and with Dan, we're the ones that are going to make these proposals.
Yeah.
And she will, evaluate, but we have to be the initiators. Yeah.
And maybe just providing her with some of the documents that we're going to
Yeah.
get that information
I can,
from.
what I can do is send an email and make her a participant in the Dropbox.
Yes,
So she can
yeah.
see all of that.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Let me write that down.
Yes.
Right now, Scott is part of that.
Mhm. And I would say that's our beginning step with this thing right here. Not the database, the work with the town. on
Working with the
design.
town,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yep, that's a good point. We can call this step 1. All right, and then determine the team. Well, we are the team. Scott is part of our team, but is remote from us a bit. And Dan is key. And Kristen will be part of our team. And
Just part of the key participants.
we don't have any other participants right now. Do you foresee other people being part of the team? I mean, the other people will come and go that advise us.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I don't think, that's about it. And potentially Freddie,
Okay.
Fred Cummings, that's
Yeah. Our
superintendent
highway.
of buildings, among other things.
Okay. I didn't think of that. Scott, Kristen, and all of us. Okay. Okay, so then the pre-planning phase, inventory available, well, we're working on
That's
that.
ongoing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yep,
we've got a lot of things done, and, I mean, in the Dropbox, and there's some other things to come.
And the storage locations you're working on as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we've already started working on that, and it's still October, and the big thing is we've got we're moving toward decisions on it.
I did put a thing in the Dropbox, a couple of things in there under, I don't know if you saw those under storage.
The pod things.
Yeah, yeah.
I was looking
Yeah.
at that.
potential cost to us and kind of pods and containers that are out there.
And what, just get a general idea of what they
You know.
cost in this area.
I did speak to Kristen about, this was at least 2 weeks ago, and sent her an email about our wish that we could use the fire station. I didn't include any request for heat because I just wanted to get the preliminary question out there. But since then,
I took her over there and toured the place with her and
yeah,
talked about, a little bit about the heat and stuff.
so maybe, because the concern was that if the heat was on, it might create mold because of the residual moisture that's
From the leaky roof.
from the leaking roof, and that wouldn't be. But Barry pointed out that 50 degrees might not create a significant mold situation.
But you
so
wouldn't want things to freeze.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's all we'd want the heat for, is to keep things,
Something
so that we're
above
not having the
freezing.
Empire Furniture
crinkle it, okay.
having the veneers come off or
Yeah,
some other
yeah.
things from freezing and stuff.
So how do you want, what's the next step in trying to promote our request?
I think maybe to come up with very specific information, which is why Tim is lending me his 100. I mean, it looks funny to me having walk around with this, but I think if I were trying to decide this, I would want to know very specifically how much area do you need, and how much area do we have, and who is willing to share and who's not. And so I sort of see us going in with measuring tapes and looking at how we could we stack more stuff here. I mean, being very, very specific about that.
So
Because
that's,
otherwise, we're just still talking in generalities. you
yeah,
know.
okay, so perhaps instead of moving things, because Ellie's truck is sopping wet.
I wonder why.
Yeah, when,
Now, let's go over.
perhaps we
And
should,
it's still drizzly, I don't know, it probably is gonna be drizzly for another couple of hours.
so perhaps we could do this exercise and feel that we've got some specifics to promote our request.
You know, I don't even know how long that Empire couch is. What kind of space does it actually need? You know, that sort of thing. Some of the, maybe measure some of the really big pieces and estimate
Well, I
how
think,
much.
yeah, maybe we should, if it's all right, we should get an idea of what's available for area at the fire station,
Yes.
since we're posted to go there.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then if we need to measure furniture, we could do that on our own. And compare the two
Yeah.
volumes.
See what the shortfall
I may-
is.
See what the
I can't-
shortfall is,
And you
yeah.
know, if we were experienced with this, we could stand there and eyeball it. But we're not, I mean, I don't think any of us are experienced with that kind of work, so.
Well,
so I
I'm
think
not,
we-
anyway, yeah.
Well, the other thing is, you've got furniture spread around in a room, or between multiple rooms, and how much space does that take up if you put it all together?
Right,
Okay,
right.
all right, so that'll be our task instead of
And some things will
moving
be
things.
stacked, but some things cannot be
Right,
stacked.
yeah.
That's right.
Right,
Right.
right.
And, you know, some things maybe we really don't want to keep either, you know, and those things, if we're having trouble getting rid of them, then they have to live in an unheated space for a while, you know? I don't know.
The next couple of things is all about repairs, identifying necessary repairs. We aren't there yet. We don't have our engineer yet.
So they've only been talked in generalities.
Yeah. And then repairs to be deferred. We're supposed to be examining that issue this month and next
Essentially,
month.
it's what is the current project going to consist of? And what goals we have in terms of things accomplished related to it with the present project. I mean,
And-
some things can be done 10 years from now, but if we want to have get to the point where we can open the place,
Yeah, then you have to do the septic system, the water flow, the foundation.
yeah.
I think that we need to remove the word repairs. The CPA lexicon does not like the word repair. So we need to,
Was it renovation, or what do you call
yeah,
it?
rehabilitation,
Okay.
renovation, preservation, reconstruction, which may happen also. in-
That's
in
a little drastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is really what you're getting at, Barry, is do we have to put those titles on different parts of the work, too?
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
going to be preserved? Is this going to be, you know?
Yeah, I think I put renovation in instead of repairs and leave it at that for now, in both of those lines.
Okay. So we've got to get that word fixed.
Or it could be just work.
Mm-hmm.
You could put work in instead of that too. But We do want to avoid the word repairs because
I
that's,
think you could have renovation in the first one, building renovations, and then identify work to be deferred.
yeah,
I think-
that would be good.
If you follow the Secretary of the Interior,
Yeah,
the word is rehabilitation. I
That
think
sounds like a person, not a building.
it does. I think,
well, rehab is one of them, yes.
yeah, I think we can look again, but I think we need to use the word,
Rehabilitate.
yeah, or just the historic, they have 4 levels of treatment: preservation, rehab, reconstruction is the last resort.
Well, that's the
And
next
what's
major.
the third
I
one?
got it right here.
Is,
Oh, man. Oh, maybe I've got them in. Takes me a minute to find it. I've got so
Preservation.
many tabs on it. that-
rehabilitation.
Okay, here we go.
Why don't we go on from there, and
Yeah,
as
yeah.
long as we know we want to fix these words.
Preservation, rehabilitation,
Restoration.
restoration,
Restoration, how could I
and
forget?
reconstruction.
Okay,
And this is going into the Dropbox when I get a copy that isn't all marked up by me. Although maybe that would be good to have my
all
markups.
right, so,
I guess I'd say the last 2 things on that list with a slash between them.
rehab and reconstruction,
And reconstruction is just a
Reconstruction,
total rebuilding of the
yeah.
thing. and,
The grant won't pay for reconstruction, will it?
I have to go back and look at that
Yeah,
document.
I'm not
again.
sure about that.
That one's also going in.
Okay,
Rehabilitation.
so
slash-
rehabilitation is fine.
Okay.
Restoration.
Rehab work. All right, the only other thing here is something that I could probably do for us and that you could have a look, is to develop a timeline of events to date. What have we accomplished to date? And then the budget, we don't have a budget, we're just not there yet. That needs to be moved forward.
Until
Oh.
we know what we need to do.
Yeah,
That's right, we don't, we don't have the,
We don't have the architect, we don't have the engineering, we don't have the septic plan.
you can't do a budget without that stuff.
Yeah. So that's it so far. The other phases, well, pre-planning, we're doing that. We're doing that with Dan.
Yes.
Do you see?
think that previous one that we just mentioned, do you think that we need to have that in a more clear action statement? We will, next time we meet with Dan, we will talk to him about this,
About
find out.
tweaking the timeline?
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever it was that list of things you just mentioned.
Okay, so,
I mean, because sometimes we just say we should do this, but if we put it in the minutes
A
that,
proposed budget
We're
with
going-
expenses to date. So the proposed budget right now might only be the expenses to date.
Because we don't know the extent of the work.
Because we
that
don't
need to
know
do.
the rest of it. But we could add some items to that list with blanks.
With the engineering evaluation.
Which is saying we're looking
yeah.
ahead to these things, but we
We
don't
don't
yet
know.
know them. Yeah. And he did talk about an engineer that he's worked with that he wanted to talk to about it.
Yeah, and the engaged consultants is gonna happen after we know what we're going to do, right?
Actually, they're gonna also be involved in
Deciding what to do.
Telling.
deciding what to do, yes, yes. Mainly engineering. I mean, based on our last conversation with Dan, it's mainly engineering stuff. Wants to look at the site and.
But you also were
existing
working with
situation.
Ross, June?
yes, under the next category, which is building and site planning, I did call Kevin Conover again last week, and he promised me that by the end of this week, we would have an estimate from him,
Oh,
but I don't have it yet.
we don't have it yet.
So,
It's
If-
Friday.
if,
yeah.
you know, it might come today, but
might.
if it doesn't, I'll wait a couple of days next week, and then I'll,
And then
yeah.
jingle them again.
Yeah, he's just busy. He said he acknowledged my email and my telephone call.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it. I mean, it's not work that he's,
It's just a question of time.
yeah, so anyway, at least I got a positive phone call from him. And I followed up with, let's see, existing conditions, okay. I did do the research on the septic system. We have, I went into the office,
The Board of Health.
the Board of Health, and Donna, who works there part-time, gave me the file. And there are some good documents that I have not yet put into the Dropbox, but I will.
We have them.
And I have them to scan. I have to scan them and then, which is holding me up, I guess. But there's a document that gives the capacity at 600 gallons, or approximately 600 gallons. There's a document that shows it was certified for Title V by Roger Wheeler and Sons in '96 when it was purchased. There's a couple of other things in there that would be good. One is a plan that we don't have in there yet. And I have the file here if you people want to have a look at it. But anyway, that's part of the existing conditions. So that's been followed up. And the site survey is the Ross piece. The archaeological piece, I've reached out to the people that I know, and they are happy to look at it. If you want, I can probably get someone to come and look preliminarily, just for our own benefit now.
The statement for archaeological finds,
Yeah, we did.
he's got way off in January. I mean, we can do it anytime. We've already talked about it a bit.
Yeah, we actually, it's in the minutes what we decided, yeah. We just want,
Which essentially means if somebody's doing stuff and they find anything, they're supposed to tell us so we can go look.
yeah, so, not disturb it any further, just give us a call, and we'll come, and we'll decide what to do. So I don't know if you want me to go any further with that, but I can.
Preparing a space program for building and operational needs, isn't that a little premature for this month?
Well,
Don't we need to figure out?
we have to get rid of our stuff first, I think,
Well, what? No.
Which one are you looking at?
This is what we plan to do with, how we plan to use the space in the building.
Oh, yeah.
And that's no great problem. I
Okay.
mean, it's been in the preservation plan for years.
That's not how I interpret it.
All right, what is it?
I interpret it as being, operational needs is a space for people who are going to work there. That's
Well,
how I read it.
Also, I think, as I recall, operational needs are the things that have nothing really to do with the museum and the history and all, but that you need a closet for this, you need a place for people to go to the bathroom, you need a place to put the heating unit or the electrical panel. To me, that was what he was explaining when we went through that. So that you were not just
So it's
filling it all up with...
functional, right?
Yes, the functional stuff, yeah.
A
things you-
space
Yeah,
program.
it's not where we're going to have exhibits,
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
is it?
Because the space
It says
program,
operational needs. and I thought-
space program is.
But I
where
think
you're
it's
gonna have exhibits.
specifically the space program just for this is what this
For
one's
the
talking
operational
about.
needs, yeah.
In
I
other
thought
words,
that
what
was like-
spaces are we going to put them in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I think it's for the nuts and bolts of how the building
It's
is
both.
maintained. You think it's both?
That's why it says space program and operational needs.
But I mean, the space
They're
program would
two
mean
different things.
It says-
everything.
Hmm?
The space program would mean
It's a space
the
program
whole rest
for
of what we're going to
operational
do.
needs.
So I think I even actually remember him talking about this, and I remember him saying that you do have to leave space for things like your electrical panel, your closet for the broom, and so.
Well, that's the operational needs.
And that's what I think this whole thing is meant to be about, the space operational needs.
No, it says space program / operational needs. They're two different things. And the space program is how you plan to use the building, the spaces in the building for your program. And operational needs is the room
Well,
closet and the toilet
we'll
and
ask
all
him
that.
about that.
Yeah, I think
Well, I mean,
I think he needs
they're
to,
both included in it.
yeah, but I think he's using building in a very literal way, Barry.
I do think
Not-
he
not
would have
for pro-
said,
Not for programming.
I think he would have said develop, oh, wait a minute, where are we again? I've lost my place.
Space-
Prepare a space program. I think he wouldn't have said for these things. He would have said, and space for operational needs or something. Well, anyway, we'll ask him. We're going to see him. We'll ask him.
This is stupid.
Because you
Let's
would,
go
he
on to the
would,
next thing,
he would
please.
not have us do all of this in October, how we're going to use all the space in the hall. Maybe he would, maybe I'm wrong.
The vision, I'm
If you're
gonna,
going to have architects work, you've got to have all of that stuff, you know, a guide as to how you're going to use space in the house, in the
Well,
building.
No, you're right, you do. Let's ask him.
but this is earmarked for the month of October.
Well, let's move on, because we won't know till we actually ask him when he thinks we should do
All
the
right, so
entire space.
we'll get a clarification
Yeah,
of
and
that.
when we
All
should
right.
just work on
So
that.
there's one, what I'm going to do now, because we're getting to the end of what we're responsible for this fall, is the vision. And I want us just to, I'll switch to that in the Dropbox, and if I can. Let me see if I can get out. So that we can just go over the vision quickly and make sure we're satisfied with it. I think we are, but how come I can't get out?
When I see space program, I think that we're going to send something into outer space.
See, now it's letting us look at it with
Space program
some
is.
clarity.
That would solve all our problems.
I think that's our image.
Let me out.
That shows up pretty nicely on our screen, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Too bad it didn't come up
Earlier.
earlier, I
Yeah.
know.
I was going to say, could you shrink it, but
Okay, now Dropbox.
I can swap, see, oh, I see, well, she's going for something else, because if she wants to see this, I can swap.
Come on.
Oh, you said this has my questions. Actually, to affirm Barry's point, in order to know where you want to put your brooms and stuff, you sort of have to know where the rest of the building is going to be used for.
That's true.
No matter. Barry, I'm giving you credit for the fact.
We're
I'm
rethinking.
giving you credit for the fact, as I'm rethinking this, that if you want to know where you're going to put your brooms and your electrical panel, you sort of have to know where you're going to put everything else too.
we're going to what?
Where you're going to have to put everything else too. To affirm what you were, I mean, I don't want to go back into that, but I can see how they all, in the end,
You have
really
to
do
work
relate.
together, yeah.
You really have to work out the whole thing.
It's like, oh, here's.
All right,
the-
so
the
you were
ramp,
right, big deal, right?
Okay,
I don't know.
can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it, or does someone else want to read it, or just read it?
You may read it, because
Okay, the mission statement is concise. To interpret the history of Berlin, its people and its institutions through a local history museum in a historic setting that tells the stories of over 200 years of community life and continues this historic narrative into the future. Okay. The vision statement is longer. The Bullard House Museum will be a center for activities and engagement with the history of Berlin. Its people and families, community organizations and churches, industrial activities, social life, architecture, and artistic pursuits. Exhibits utilizing items from the town historical collection will be used in conjunction with programs and interactive activities to engage visitors of all ages. The house itself interprets local history through its use as a tavern, inn, and store at the turn of the 19th century. The blacksmith's house from 1813 to 51, the post office in the 1880s, housing the town fire truck in the 1920s, and commercial activities in the early 20th century. Military connections include being the family home of 2 Gold Star brothers in World War I, and a room's use as the American Legion Hall after World War I. The Bullard House will be the anchor of historical interpretation in the town. The adjacent historic 1870 Town Hall can accommodate historical exhibits and programs requiring larger spaces. The 1805 Hearst House in the nearby Old Burying Ground and the Powder House of 1814 will also be useful for interpretation. The museum program will utilize all of the sites working together in our historic center village.
June, the one thing in that one that I was, people can study a little bit more and figure out, the mention of churches, the one thing that I think it's the restriction, the preservation restriction, you're not allowed in any way to promote a religious thing. So I don't know whether if we say organizations, do we need to keep churches into it? Is churches clearly the histories of the church and not but as soon as religion gets into it, it cuts out certain things, and I can't remember if it's the grant or if it's the preservation restriction or what it is. So can you just read that part again to see if it sounds like we might be
Well, it
doing
says
something?
community organizations and churches.
But what does it say about them? Read the whole
Nothing.
sentence.
Just that.
No, read the whole sentence, I mean.
The Bullard House Museum will be a center for activities and engagement with the history of Berlin, its people and families, community organizations, and churches,
So you're talking about the history of.
industrial
the history
activities,
of.
social
Yeah.
life, architecture.
And I suppose if
It's
they
all
called us
history
on
of-
it, we could take it out anyway.
Well, there are churches on the National Register, right?
Yes, but they can't be used as churches. In the National Register, maybe they can, yeah, sure.
Well, it's not
But
the use
there's
of them
certain-
as a church, it's
Right.
it's the preservation of their history.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a problem, but
Okay.
Well,
I remember it being mentioned specifically in the application, that's why I,
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
not,
No, there's
they
a-
give CPA funds to churches
yeah,
if it's preservation of the building,
Yes.
if it's,
okay,
they had a big,
It's just not promotion of the religion.
right.
brouhaha in Acton over getting a CPA grant for restoration of stained glass windows. And it was a big brouhaha and a legal case and everything else over it. The question is, to what degree was that supporting the religious function as opposed to a historic function?
Okay, so that's where I was going with
but
that.
So I
But
think- But
this
you think
doesn't
that's
enter
okay?
into
It's
that.
relating to the history
Yeah,
of.
the history of
should
the
be
Yeah.
church,
fine.
yeah.
okay, the next part deals with accessibility. The historic building with 2 levels on the first floor, and its site on a rocky hillside presents significant difficulties to full accessibility. The 2 levels on the first floor have been addressed with a code-compliant ramp, and an accessible entrance door had been installed. The 2 levels on the first floor have been addressed with a code-compliant ramp and an accessible entrance door.
There should be a comma after ramp.
I don't know if I can open in Word for the Web.
Stuck. These chairs don't let you slide.
It's the compound sentence.
I'll be able to think more clearly if I actually drink my coffee.
Okay, the 2 levels addressed with a code-compliant ramp and an accessible entrance door, comma?
No,
No.
After
ramp,
ramp is a
after
comma.
ramp, put a comma.
Okay.
Right.
And an accessible entrance door has been installed?
Has,
Yeah, I don't like that.
wait a minute.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wait, we
has.
start it over again? The 2 levels?
The 2
I don't-
levels on the first floor have been addressed with a code-compliant ramp, comma, and an accessible entrance door has been installed. It's has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
it's an accessible ramp that you're referencing. It's a single.
I don't know whether that sentence belongs there or not. I'm the one who put it in, but
You're having second thoughts.
it's not vision. I mean,
It's more detail.
It's saying something about we've done to address it. I don't know whether it belongs in the vision or not.
I
but
was
we can
thinking the
discuss
same
that.
thing, Barry.
But we'll talk to him about that.
It's sort of a weak vision. Detailed vision. It's part of the vision.
Well, we expect to enhance the accessibility, but this is already in place.
That's right.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Okay, so accessible parking and a route to the entrance will be provided. The first floor of the Bullard House will be made as accessible as possible without substantial or destructive modification to meaningful historic elements. Exhibits and presentations will occur in accessible spaces. An accessible restroom will be provided for staff and visitors. Public use of the second floor will be determined based on a waiver process through the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, or through the future installation of a lift, should a suitable location be determined and planned.
Did we mention things like workshops as well as?
Well, we're not done yet.
Oh, okay.
Funding, under funding, the Berlin Art and Historical Society, a 501c3 organization, has continued to provide both financial support and a volunteer base for Bullard House events and projects. Members' support will be encouraged and enhanced by small programs and workshops that promote interest in and appreciation for the many and varied uses of the Bullard House. Public attendance at these venues will be encouraged and will increase awareness and participation to implement the museum's vision. Community Preservation Act funding has been secured in the amount of $200,000 for structural rehabilitation and architectural services, and will continue to be an annual source of funding for historic preservation. This funding provides leverage for an MHCM PPF grant, which, if awarded, will provide matching funds. Networking with the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission and Jen Doherty of the Mass Historical Commission, and preservation consulting firms such as Tremont Preservation Services and Essex Preservation Consulting is planned to help us accomplish our preservation goals. Now, staffing will evolve with the Bullard House itself, beginning with volunteers and perhaps leading to a paid position, starting with posted hours and special events and becoming more frequent, regular hours. And becoming with regular hours? Starting with posted hours and special events and becoming, what's becoming?
Becoming isn't a good word there.
Okay.
And transitioning over time.
Mm-hmm.
And transitioning over time
Two.
to,
True.
what?
To frequent regular hours.
Do we need the word frequent in there?
Yeah, it's kind
What
of,
word?
it's kind of
Frequent.
clumsy.
Frequent, is that being a little pie in the sky that we would be able to?
Yeah.
You know, I think of a lot
How
of the
about
other.
more frequent?
I think
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I
just
think
should
we
say
took out the more, and we
Yeah.
need to put it
More
back.
frequent.
to more frequent.
Regular hours. That way we're not promising too much.
Right. And you see a lot of those little museums that are neat things, and when you get to the door, they'll say, our hours are, and it's usually
It's
meaning they're
very
not going to be real
yeah.
frequent, yeah.
There's all kinds of places that open up with hours and they end up,
Yeah,
nobody comes. I mean,
nobody
or
comes,
relatively
and it's hard to
few.
get
Yeah.
staffing, and, yeah.
Why be,
Yeah.
why be open if you're not gonna have anybody
No,
come?
but a lot of those are the kind too where you're just looking at things and then leaving.
Yeah.
And
If you
things
have
that
it
never
advanced,
change a lot
yeah.
of times in those. We have a great collection, so we can do some
But we
change.
also, I think, need to plan events.
Mhm.
Otherwise
Okay,
it
well,
gets
what-
stale.
We'll read the sentence again, see if we're happy. Staffing will evolve with the Bullard House itself, beginning with volunteers and perhaps leading to, we got, lost the two, and leading to, yeah, that's still not that great. Well, leading to more frequent regular hours.
Visitors will be welcome.
Did I lose part of the sentence? Staffing will evolve with the Bullard House itself, beginning with volunteers and perhaps leading to more frequent.
Oh, yeah.
What
Well,
happened to that other part?
I don't know.
Just hit, what do you hit? You're going to lose this more frequently.
I would, you need to go back until we get it all back, and then we'll have to redo it again.
What is it, Command Z?
Back.
Oh, back, mine is Command Z.
Is that back now?
No.
No?
Do you do Command Z, June?
Command Z,
Oh,
Keep
maybe-
going back.
maybe.
Control
If
Z.
it's working, do what you're doing.
No, it's not working.
What's not working?
The going back.
On my computer.
Oh, we've gone back.
Oh, here we go.
Now
good.
that's what we wanted.
Okay, sorry. Okay, staffing will evolve with the Bullard House itself, beginning with volunteers and perhaps leading to a paid position, starting with posted hours and special events and transitioning over time to more frequent regular hours. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, let me say.
It's realistic. People they don't want pie in the sky.
You know, I think that something got mixed up in there, and we ended up making changes that we already did before.
Visitors will be welcomed by staff members who will maintain the museum. Lead activities and discussions, help set up exhibits, teach historical skills and crafts, invite visitors to share discoveries, or just travel back to the past. A Bullard House Friends group could be formed to structure the building's volunteer opportunities, create camaraderie, and solicit input, as well as build consensus for activities and projects. Visitors will fully engage with an experience without
Hyphen.
E,
Yeah.
with an
And take the
Experience-
space out.
take the space out, yeah. With an experience-filled environment to learn about the past and carry with them new insights as they build the future.
Is there a word that says experience-filled that sounds a little more precise? What is, I mean, we can think about that on our own, but, I mean, that's what we're going for, is that there'll be a lot of
Yeah,
experiences.
I think it's okay.
You think it's okay?
Yeah.
If somebody comes up with a brilliant one, we can change it.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it. So are we good so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we need to put in the minutes again, because I think we have
We
already.
reviewed it again.
That we reviewed and,
Modified.
yeah, we modified. And it's okay. Okay for now, anyway. This isn't right here. Maybe my battery's dead.
I think it's nice that we can keep coming back to these and make changes.
Fine tuning.
Yeah. It takes the pressure off a little bit, you know. It's not the Declaration of Independence, although I bet they did that too, even without a computer.
Okay. All right, so okay, so it's edited by you, which means me, I guess, on 10/14. It keeps a little calendar
Yeah.
of your entries. Okay, so I think we're done with the workflow.
Okay.
The vision was the last piece of that, I think. Do you want to go back and have a look? You want to look, yeah, on the big map
We're
here?
doing, I've sort of forgotten what the colors mean, but that's all right.
Well, the only other thing for this month is sketch building and site design concepts, and that's something that
He has to
he's
do.
already working on, and he's got it for a 2-month period, so.
Okay.
Is this, did we talk about this one down here?
And developing a civil site plan is the thing that you're
Ross,
dealing with Ross on, and that's already future, so that's okay. We're making the,
what's that yellow?
The yellow says, identify available sources, planned sources for financial planning and management. This is financial planning and management. Identify available sources, planned
sources for money.
Yes, and identify potential funding sources.
Yeah, I
And
think-
that's a continuing process
Yeah.
for 3 months.
Yeah.
Identify potential funding sources for requirements and schedule. That starts this month.
How do we do that?
Well, that would be Tremont Preservation, if we want to engage a preservation consultant to help us with that. I think he made the comment that maybe it's premature to do that.
Uh-huh.
But
Since we
that's,
don't know what we're going to be doing.
but that's another question for him.
Well, that's something that you do as an ongoing thing anyway, but obviously you want to be thinking about your potential sources.
And we,
And-
yeah, and
who can help us?
we actually have done that by requesting CPA funds. I mean, we're,
Yes.
And the other thing is, I think that's where we can go to Trish and Carrie.
Yeah, I was just
with,
thinking about that.
The, what do you call it?
CMRCP.
I'm so burned out.
And potential donors.
Yes,
I mean,
CMRPC.
We can also work on a
Central Mass
potential
Regional
donor list
Planning.
in the town, too.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, say that again.
A potential donor list in the town.
Yeah. And how do you go about that? Just people
have
that
a-
you know are interested in the topic?
Well, you can
and people
well, you
who
can have a presentation of some sort, or,
Yeah.
and get people together, and so they know, you know, so they know your timeline. I mean, that's a big part of credibility is,
Is it, now, here's a thought that I had. If we are going to start putting out more information through blogs, we've got 2 sources for blogs. We've got one, the town website has a blog that we can use, and the Historical Society. Is it annoying, or is it helpful to have at the bottom, you know, people who would like to contribute, you know, may contact, da-da-da-da? Because I saw that on, I was looking up some nonprofit thing, and that, it was just clearly sort of something that just kind of gets put at the bottom each time.
oh, yeah.
What they, now, is that good? Is that annoying?
It's
Is that-
accepted.
It's
It's an
accepted.
accepted practice.
Yeah,
Of course it
A
is.
donate now
Yeah.
button.
yeah,
I mean, we can't do that on the town.
yeah.
We can't solicit funds on the town blog,
Okay.
but
But the society, we
the
could.
society, we could.
And, you know, I don't think we're ready to say, and if you want to help us, because we're not planned enough to say, yeah, we could stand to have 3 people go over there and clean that corner. You know, we're not there yet, but,
Well, we are going to have a yard sale,
yeah.
which is
yeah.
not, it's more for our benefit, really.
Clean out stuff.
Yeah, and to have a presence.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be on November 19th, which is the same date as the church fair, the Friendship Village Fair, and
The Artisans Fair at the
the
Town Hall.
Artisans Fair at the Town Hall. So there'd be, and that, I need to make a little electronic flyer pretty soon. Like, I don't know if I can do it this weekend because I'm booked for Saturday and Sunday, but I have to go to a funeral tomorrow.
Well, and I've been talking with Lindsay too, who,
But it's-
you know, is happy to put together things for us. She, you know, she will deliver. There was something she just sent me. She had a little thing, I think I showed you maybe, for the,
Yeah, I did see it. It was nice. Like a little
for
cartouche.
blogs,
Yeah.
that sort of attracts attention. Oh, here's another one of those blogs, let's read this one, that sort of thing.
Well,
and she's very eager
yeah.
to participate. She
Yeah.
closed out the latest email with, I'm really happy to be able to participate or to help out. And she seems to have the time. So if you ever want to just, you know, or
Yeah,
get
we-
together with her.
We can also mine other people's
Yes.
fundraising. How other people, I mean, and how we've done our own in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, who have been our donors in the past, because we've got lists of that. Because we have solicited donations 2-3 times over the years on the Bullet House project. And, I mean, some of those people wouldn't be available now, but some are. And the other thing is the potentials that have come into the town in recent times. And those are people or concerns which have shown a willingness to donate to local projects or donate to historical things or whatever.
It needs to be much more, our donor appeal needs a lot of refinement, though. You know, we need to say, we need to be more
Exactly what we're
specific.
going to be doing.
Yeah, and when, how much is best we can estimate, and the expectations. Because people don't, I mean, any sizable donation, people want to know what they're getting for their money. Yeah.
And we aren't in a position where we can talk what the amounts are we need yet.
I know.
But that's the other piece we've got to be able to do.
So our donor appeal may change over time as we become more specific with what our
Yeah,
needs are.
yeah.
But it doesn't mean that, you know, we can't let them know that they're appreciated even in a general way. you
If
know.
we had, yeah, if
Well, the
we,
bigger thing is that we need to be developing the list on a continuous basis. Developing a list.
well, my point in raising the reminder about the yard sale was that that money can go to the Bullet House.
Yeah.
We can, I don't know how you want that to be written.
When is the yard sale?
November 19.
Now, that's creeping up, and I have no idea what we have collected to put in a yard sale.
It's in my basement right now.
Oh, so you've got stuff.
So you have a vested interest in getting it
Yeah.
Yeah,
going
because
forward.
every week
Moving
Marty
it
says,
forward.
when can we move this?
But, and what kinds of things are we putting in it?
Well,
I
there are
would
two
think-
categories. One, there were things that were donated in past years that got left in the Bullard House. And those were thrown out or cleaned up because they're in a condition where, and they're mostly vintage, which is sort of the theme of this yard sale, so that they can be put out there for people to have a look and hopefully take away. The other category are things, some of which are collectibles from my place in Ossipee that's now been sold. And we can have, I don't want just stuff. If people have some mostly vintage things that they want, that they think someone would be interested in buying or putting out a donation for, then we can accept more things.
And
We
is it
had a
usually-
couple of yard sales a decade or more ago. And we had stuff given at that time. And after the first one, we put the stuff in a room in the house, and then the next year we brought it out and sold some more of it and so forth. And we put it back in the room. And what we did in this year is we've cleaned out the room and things that were thought to be worth continuing to put in a future sale, June has taken most of them home and cleaned them up. There's a few things that are left there. There's maybe half a dozen things that are left there, but that's all. We've gotten rid of a lot of it.
I had, in our attic, I found things that were clearly from one of these yard sales that you guys have had, and it was jewelry. And so I thought, well, I can go through, and it was all just thrown in boxes. So this was about a year or two ago. So I sat in the front hall of the house. I remember the jewelry was all over the floor. And I did, so somewhere, and I gave it to Edie. I took it to Edie when I was done with it.
I think it's been donated to Many Hands.
Oh, it has.
To who?
Oh, Many
Many
Hands.
Hands.
Okay, well, that's a good cause.
Because
too.
there's no jewelry in there that I know of
Oh.
anymore in the
And
Bullard
it, you know,
House.
yeah, and it was sorted and matched up. The earrings got matched up again and that sort of thing. But okay, so maybe that is not a
Yeah,
source.
the costume jewelry, we passed over to them because they do it as part of Friendship Village Fair.
Yeah.
And we didn't have enough of it to
Right.
make
I
a lot
don't,
of
you
it.
know, and we don't have the wherewithal and the volunteers to do that.
No.
So best that we give it to people who care about it and we'll move it along.
So is that just jewelry or other items as well?
I've given clothing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
what-
sure it was clothing from, no, it must have been clothing that
Yeah.
we had.
Yeah. No.
We didn't have a
that's-
lot of clothing in the yard sale stuff. We did have linens.
What
Yeah,
can
well,
we put in the
linen-
yard sale?
The
If we're not
linens
doing
we still
jewelry, we're not
have
doing
then.
We still have
If
them.
if they weren't stained enough to look disreputable and I had to throw them out, then they're still there ready for
Yeah,
this sale.
but Elaine also went through a few things to put in the collection out of it, but not much.
Yeah.
So are they all, should they all be vintage things? I mean,
Well,
for
mostly
example-
vintage. I
Yeah.
think, you know, my daughter just gave me an AT&T telephone, you know, one that you plug into the wall that was never used.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that could be on a different table. I mean,
I've got some stuff that's, just household stuff.
yeah, I think we could, but I don't want,
And who do we deliver?
see, I've got to get rid of it after, so I don't.
Right, but who are
Yeah.
we soliciting for things to put on the vintage table?
I haven't.
It's just that's
Except-
what we have in
We're
our
not
houses?
trying to get more stuff.
Yeah,
If somebody wants to give us stuff to sell, fine, but we're not trying to get more stuff. And when this one is over, we intend to jettison what is left.
yeah.
And then we're not planning to do any more vintage
No.
sales? Oh,
Well,
all right, well, see, I'm not completely clear on whether
They're
we're...
trying to get rid of what they have.
All right, so
They
it's
don't wanna
not
collect more.
about, it's not about making money then? The
Well,
money is a
yeah.
side benefit, you're
That's
just
right.
trying, okay, I did not understand
The main purpose
that.
here is
All
to
right.
reduce the junk in the house.
Yes,
And
In the
we've had
Bullard
this
house,
stuff,
yes.
and we've been treated very badly by some people over it. Because there's so much stuff in the house, and we gotta get rid of it.
Right.
So the point is, the stuff that's got some value, we wanna put in the yard sale, see if we can't get some value out of it.
okay,
And what's left is, we have to make decisions about, so that we don't have it back in our hands to store.
it can go to the swap shed.
Well,
It can go to the Jones Road
that's a whole
Mall.
different thing than
Yeah.
I thought we were trying to collect things and make money.
No,
All right, good.
we did
That's-
that before.
Yes,
And we
Yes.
did, the first one we did very well with. The second one, we made about $300.
yeah,
And we said, it's not worth all this work for $300.
Right.
I could
Hauling
write
all
a
the
check
stuff
a lot
out and
easier
hauling
than I
it back
could do all
in.
this work.
Yeah.
right.
My concern is, I'm a little worried about the weather, so I talked to Barry the other night about that, and we think that if it is actually raining and we can't, and a canopy won't protect being outside of the Bullard House, that we might be able to use the entrance room to stage our things.
And I'm kind of thinking about setting up outdoors, overflowing into the entrance room, and then if we need to, we just move most of it into the entrance room and just have a few things out to attract attention.
Okay,
So that would require us to move our staged things that we've
stuff that's
relocated
there
from
now.
upstairs, we would have to put those in the kitchen.
Right,
To
but
do.
that's a fine
I guess,
solution.
I guess we could do
This
that.
Oh,
is
yeah.
stuff that we've taken, this is collection stuff that we've moved from upstairs, sorted out into sorted piles, not done piles, but sorted piles. So that, okay, this is all clothing that we have to go through, this is all paper and ephemera we've got to go through, this is all, you know, preparatory to processing it for the collection. And so we just have to get that out of the way so we can do this in the entrance room.
Okay,
No, that kitchen would easily accommodate.
so.
Oh, well,
Just
it's
be a little
it's
tighter.
an empty space.
So at the end of the month, I don't want the stuff that I've cleaned up to be in the bullet house too long.
No,
No.
But,
And you know, it,
but,
well, a couple of weeks. We should spend
Yeah.
a couple of weeks getting ready.
yeah,
And so we can bring it down a couple of weeks ahead, but we've got
Well,
more
that's-
things to do before that, so.
yeah, and if your goal is this year to end up with none of that stuff, then we may just have to say too, some things get
Yeah,
thrown
it
out.
has to be done.
It's
What?
fair, some things get thrown out. If
Oh,
you're-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. This is the last we're gonna.
That's right.
Store stuff that we don't want.
That's right.
Because, yeah, good.
all right, so there's just one other thing, you know, which is our ongoing misery, which is trying to relocate this stuff, is, do you want to meet again as a group to go through things in the bullet house, put some stuff out for trash, bring stuff down and put it with our other categories that we've already made?
The things that are left that we haven't looked at, you mean?
Yep.
We
There's a
just-
lot. Well, there's a lot. I mean, there's architectural elements, boards, mostly boards, I guess. Maybe molding. Do we have any mantles left? Maybe one.
Any what?
Mantles?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
filling out.
There's that whole kind of thing. That's a category. Then we've got upstairs, there's mannequins and display items. That has to be dealt with. And then there might be some residual donation items, I don't know, a few, and your Grange stuff.
And we've got Grange stuff.
So that's 1, 2, that's 3 different kinds of items, plus building materials that are still there. Roofing paper, cement, I don't know what else. Those sorts of things that keep over time.
Do those need any particular climate control, any of that stuff?
No, but are we gonna haul
Yeah.
those into the fire station? I would not.
Well, one of the
That's
things,
not
advocate-
what we've asked for
one of the
fire
things
station
I'm
for.
wondering about is.
So what are we gonna do with them?
I'm-
Put them out on the
well-
lawn and say free? That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah, try to get rid of them first of all, and so somebody's doing it. But I'm trying to, you know, one of the places that I know has some space is the front of Village Power, where they used to do sell out of. But the whole place, they're using it to repair machinery and stuff.
They're
So
using it for what?
They're using it to repair tractors,
Oh.
and so the whole thing smells like the inside of a
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah, I was in
And-
there.
And I don't even know if some of the boards and bags of cement would carry that with them for a long time. And would people walk into the
Yeah,
Bullard
but we're-
House if you were
yeah.
using them and say, what
Well,
is
a few
this?
of the,
I'm not moving those, I'll tell you right now. They're going out on the lawn unless someone wants them.
Okay, you
Yeah.
mean the building supplies?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
No, that's an even better idea.
Well-
But
well,
I just didn't.
there may be a few of them that we might take
Yeah, some.
advantage of that for.
Yeah. But then I don't
But
know
then they'll
if they're
smell.
gonna smell, I just,
Yeah.
and they will, you know how people
I've been
smell.
in there because when I helped with the Hearst House resorting and
Yeah.
putting things back into the container, I went in there
Yeah.
and,
That's why I didn't volunteer it for the Hearst House.
it's not a commodious.
Yeah, and I don't know
Well,
that.
we understood that for most things.
Yeah,
Some of the odd building materials type stuff, you know.
I agree with you. Moving that stuff is like,
It's heavy. I can't even lift it
Well,
myself.
you don't have to.
Well, you shouldn't be doing it either.
Well, Barry, would it get a weight off of our minds if we could start with an emptier building and not have this burden but now we've got all this stuff that we've put here that we have no place to put? I mean, that wouldn't make you feel better to be able to say,
I'm not
okay.
talking about a lot of stuff.
No. No. Well,
But when you've got good pails of paint, or you've got good other stuff like that, why do you need to throw them out?
yeah,
Because
I
you
know.
don't have any place to put them.
I could put them somewhere, and you don't want me to say where.
Where?
Where?
I want to know.
Internally in somebody else.
Oh. That's not nice.
No, it's not. But I'm getting that, I'm at
I
that
know.
point with it.
I know.
Well,
I know.
God.
I'm at the other end of it.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
it's on us to
Yeah.
make this happen.
to get that house empty.
And the question's gonna come to me.
Yeah. Well, when we go over, we're not going to the Bullard House today, though, are we?
No, well,
I'm going to say,
no.
maybe what we have to do, this may be one of those rare moments when we have to go, look at it, know what we're really talking about, and have a vote, and decide. And I mean, we could tie. We could have a tie vote, and then we have to go back where we started. But this may be a
Well, the question is.
votable item if we,
Yeah, the question in front of us right now, though, is do you want to schedule a time to do this together?
I'd say yes, we just need to make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're stressing over it, it just needs to be moved on.
and I do think that the decision may involve voting. I mean, if it comes to that, and we don't know
I think we need to
until.
evaluate what we have,
We
right?
do.
If it's like
yeah.
2 buckets of paint, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah. I think you're right.
There are a
See,
lot
you
of,
haven't seen
there are a
it,
lot of
right?
used pails, a lot of used.
We could always put them out in the sale, and then we would.
Or you put them out with the free sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
It works really well.
Yeah,
Free
Yeah.
is good.
and somebody gets the use of it.
When do you think we
Well,
could
exactly.
do this?
It's not the point to dump it into the town dump.
Yeah.
It's to
Yeah, well, they
get it
won't-
repurposed.
They won't
Yeah,
take
if
it
it's used-
anyway, unless we prepare it properly, so. Your latex paint has to be dried.
Dried, yeah.
So our first step is for everybody on the commission to have gone and taken a look at it, so we know what we're talking about. Okay, so let's say that's our action
When do you
statement
want to
for this.
schedule the going? It has to be 48 hours from whenever I can schedule it.
What about next Friday at 10 o'clock?
Next Friday. What day is that? That's,
What, 7 days from the 14th?
The
okay,
21st.
21st.
You know what, I don't know that I've got my calendar. How come without my calendar?
What's the matter?
I can't find my calendar. We have,
October 21.
I didn't realize
At
how
Bullard House?
scattered my brain had become with my last week and a half
Okay.
activities, but boy,
Well, then
hasn't.
I have,
I can't get away from the fact that when you're working and you're doing a job and you got stuff left over, and then you got another job to do you throw out all the paint buckets and buy new ones the next time you paint? I don't get this. I don't get this
That's what we're gonna try to
mentality.
figure, but Barry, that's what we're gonna try to figure out, and I think we need to move on to our next topic, but that is exactly why we're gonna go. I mean, we're asking Ellie to make a decision, she hasn't even seen the stuff, so.
10
I think we-
o'clock, 10 o'clock on the 21st. I
Yeah.
think I can do it, but
Well,
right.
you can't, you
Yeah,
do-
Yeah, I
no,
left my
yeah,
calendar.
maybe just a different time that day. Okay, so,
Meet at Bullard House.
we're almost out of time, but the historical collection, there was one thing that I wanted us to just discuss briefly, and that's creating the platform for all this work that the CPA has paid for, and Barry spent time on choosing I think about 25 high priority, we call them high priority artifacts. They're all imaged. The inventory books from the 60s and 70s have been imaged, and we need to get those out there. We need to think about how we want to do that. Do we want to have a website? Do we want it to be a commission? Do we want to include the society in creating the platform? It's, it's hard to add this on, but we do need to have somewhat.
Well,
of-
is there any reason it can't be on the town website under the Historical Commission?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it can be there, but we have to get help putting it up. We have to have we have to pay someone to help us do this, because I don't know how to do it.
And you're putting up, to repeat that for me, please. I was thinking about my calendar and I totally missed.
Well, we have artifact images,
Yes, the images.
and we
Okay.
have the
Yeah.
notebooks.
Yeah,
It's probably more important right now because the inventory notebooks can't be fully appreciated with 25 artifacts that we have imaged, but we should get those images up there with some kind of an explanation, or at least some kind of
out to the
caption.
public, you're saying? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought you were saying.
And
yeah.
just an explanation of how that happened, who did the work and where the money came from
And why we're doing it.
and why we're doing it. It's for accessibility. And
Are we thinking of that as a blog post?
blog post. A blog? No. Well,
Where you explain something, and the blog posts can be short, and they don't even have to
we
connect
can,
with
yeah,
each
well,
other.
if we actually had these up, the blog could certainly refer people to the town website
Yeah,
with the
Yeah.
explanation.
yeah.
But
But the town website, what part of the town website would these photos appear on?
That's what.
we have a
got the
commission
historical
page.
commission page.
I think
Oh, yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
just one
okay.
page.
The Historical Commission page at the present time just has a very brief statement of what a Historical Commission is and a list of the people that run it.
I like the idea of putting them up.
I think
Is there a
little
problem
bit
with
more.
it? Is there any reason not to?
Well, the question is, how do we do it? How do we get it done?
None of us have that expertise.
And is the expertise more a tech expertise? Or is it more?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
well,
I mean, we can provide the material, the subject matter, we can provide captions to go with each
Yeah,
picture.
the content.
The point is, we can provide the content.
Right.
But how can we get the thing?
well, that's where I will go home and talk to Mr. James Wheeler and see if he could help us with that. And the other person that probably eventually should, that's another thing that Lindsay knows how to do, but maybe not on the town website. Maybe we'd have James do that, but in terms of, things like, some of the other
And we can
social
use
media.
the same material later on in something
Mhm. Oh,
under the
yeah.
Historical Society.
Yeah.
But we need to, what we need to do is deliver this in a way that the public can get to it, because that's what we went in for an appropriation to do.
Yeah. So I will talk to James. If you trust him to do it, he seems to know a lot about
That'd be a
this.
starting point, right?
Yeah. He knows. I think he would do that for us. And
The other thing we've got that is the Revolutionary War records,
yeah.
which were all scanned in the town clerk's office. We have the scans there, but we need to get those up
Yeah.
online so that people can get to those records
Is that?
remotely.
Yeah.
That's something that people do like to do research in, and they'd like to look at those old
Yeah.
papers.
Is this it for us? This page?
And, you
It just says that we're appointed by the select board, who our chair is. This is totally outdated here, except for Barry.
Yeah, Elaine's still there, and you are.
That's all right. I'd rather they call her with her problems.
Is that all we have? Is that our presence on?
Yes, go down. What's wrong?
Well, because
All right, we
it's
got
got
the
still
people.
Elaine, and it doesn't have either,
Yeah, it doesn't have the last two appointees. And
But, the thing that James always says to me and reminds me is the time-consuming part of putting things out to the public is preparing the content. And that's what we can do that.
Oh, yes.
And then the quick part is getting it out there.
Getting
Now, for
someone
us, we
technically
probably
to-
spend a month trying to learn how to get it out there, but somebody who knows how to do it, that goes fast.
Once they have the
Yeah.
files available to
Yeah.
them, they just stick them in.
Right. And we've got the content, you've got all those photos. Or whatever.
When I met with Kristen quite a while ago now, three weeks ago, I told her that this was outdated, and she
Oh.
told me to, let her know,
Mhm.
and she'd get it fixed.
Mhm. And now, the thing that we would probably want to do is to see if we can find somebody who would be, well, that might even be the last of our commission members. We might want somebody who has some experience with doing this, because we're going to need to do a lot of this sort of thing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we need it in the society as well.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have any, so the action piece here is that you'll approach James
Yes.
with our need to create a
Yes.
platform.
And if he feels he's just swamped, then I will, ask him who else he might know.
And we need to tell Kristen, I'll need to tell Kristen that we've asked him.
Don't tell her until I have asked him.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I'll let you know when I have
All
asked. If we're talking about it for one or two things, and then if it goes easily for him, he might say, you can let me know if you have other things. But
Would you ask James one other thing?
Yes.
He has downloaded the images that, of these artifacts on whatever, the town computer.
Oh, the
I
town-
don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
Anyway, those images exist, are
In-
backed up here.
In the town, he's put it in the town's system, all right.
Yeah.
But I don't have any confirmation from him that he downloaded the inventory scans, which I gave him on
The lists.
a thumb drive.
Okay.
A long time ago, the beginning of the year. And I'm not sure that he's done that, and
Okay.
maybe he has, but he didn't give me back the thumb drive.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that he still needs it. And maybe, I'm not sure. I would think that the inventory, wherever in the system, the images of the artifacts are, I would think the inventory scans would be in the same place.
It may be that he needs to talk to June so that they communicate directly on the subject.
Yeah. In the same place.
Both get on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay, so demo delay, when I went in for the septic information, Leanne said there wasn't anything pending that she knew of. She checked for me, so I think we're good there. Is there any other matter that we need to bring up?
I don't think so.
I can only think of one thing, and that is that Dan hasn't gotten back to me about when he wants to meet again.
Right.
So I'll just remind him about that. And he did mention that at some point he would probably be able to come back in person. But this may not be the time. It might be a Zoom meeting that we have. Are you familiar, do you do the Zoom meetings?
I can, I haven't ever, I mean,
Yeah.
I've done it for other things.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so
Because
that's good.
he's in Maine now, no, most of the time, so therefore, when we meet with him, most of the time, we're on Zoom.
And the only thing I can think of maybe to ask him about that we've been talking about is the whole planning of the that one that we were discussing, the planning, the
plan.
use of space. When should that start? Because we're starting to talk about it here in our meetings. And just, the preservation versus the Where's my little thing that has all the-
Yes,
all those
rehab,
things?
et cetera.
We all need to memorize that.
PRRR, but
Yeah.
preservation.
Yeah, I
One
call
of
it
the
the
things,
Rs.
one of the problems for us is that the Bullitt House had been so mangled over time,
Mhm.
especially the back half of it. Some of it had been all, essentially redone in the 20th century. And it's like, why are you trying to restore this to the,
Well, I think you mentioned that
Way
in
before that.
the minutes of the site
Yeah.
visit that we had with Dan.
yeah,
It's like, it doesn't make sense to do that when we're really looking at
you got nothing
the-
left.
Yeah.
And that gives you some freedom that you don't normally have in this situation.
You
but it
don't have
also-
to be true to one period.
Right, but it's also a challenge, And that's why, I
What do
think-
you fix, what do you leave as it is?
Right. And our collection allows us to be a little bit more flexible than some places where they've got the furniture that's in there and that's all they've got. So, come see it.
Okay, the one thing that I'm not clear on to follow through with is what is our next step to promote our request to use the fire station? How do you want to do that? I mean,
I think my suggestion that we get as much specific detail so that
Well,
it's harder
can't we
to...
do that next Friday when we're also looking at some of this stuff? Take a
well, that would be
a
the
block of
second, that would
time.
be the second piece. I mean, if we go to the fire station now to just look at what's available and estimate the volume,
Well, and maybe
Then-
just find out how big the spaces are up there.
then
that
when we
still
go
have.
on next Friday, we can compare that with what's the volume of our furniture,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's kind of a two.
I mean, we can get a rough estimate, yeah.
Yes. so-
One way or the other, yeah, it doesn't, I don't know that it matters if you do one before the other, but.
I don't think it does, probably.
Well, we're posted to go to the fire station today, and
Oh, yeah.
so rather,
Let's
I
use
could
it.
cancel it, but
I
think you
we
brought
should
your-
go with
Might as well
it.
go over there.
Yeah, I think
It'll
so.
give
You
Ellie a
brought-
chance to see this
Yeah,
stuff.
except I
too.
do have to get up to the church.
And I brought
Yeah.
snacks because we weren't gonna
Okay.
get our
Well,
lunch.
well, we don't need the truck,
Does
so we,
anybody want
unless
a
you want to
snack?
look at the fire.
I don't care.
Oh, you've been there. You've,
I've been,
Yeah,
when we
okay,
were moving
okay.
stuff up there, but.
Oh, that's right, you were there when we did that.
so the
Sure,
the
okay.
three of us could go to the fire station
Yeah.
and
Am I the only one that doesn't want to eat something first?
go ahead.
You were very nice to bring those.
I do much better when I'm not cranky.
I think most people are.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
functional when they're, yeah.
Yeah, when they're not cranky.
Yeah.
Does
So
that
do we
cover-
need a motion to adjourn then?
I move that we adjourn this meeting
Okay.
for our next meeting.
We adjourned to continue it in our storage
Seconded.
areas.
Okay,
Oh,
so
we
a
could,
motion
but
to
it's just been
adjourn,
posted
And
for
seconded.
separate meetings.
and Ellie seconded, and
And we have our next meeting
all in
next
favor?
Friday.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so it is.